I have in front of me a TV presentation stand with shelf, and it's suitable for TVs between 32 and 50 inches. So we have it fully assembled in front of us here, and the various bags of bolts and things that would be used for mounting on a TV, I'll talk about in a few moments. I'm just going to start the video by giving an overview of the box that's going to come in. So just get an idea here, just a long tubular box like this. So the assembly on it, in our experience on it, took about 15 minutes, I suppose in total. 10 to 15 minutes is what we guide for the assembly of this. So what I'm going to do here is, rather than try to assemble it on screen, we'll do a much quicker video on it, but I will give you a step-by-step of exactly how it's going to arrive and what to do. So we'll start off with the base. The first thing to note is there are 4 wheels on it. Each of them are lockable, and they just simply screw into welded nuts that are on the base of the unit here. So we have it in the 4 corners. Then the rest of the base is made up of 3 pieces. You have a single unit over here, a replica on the far side, and this flat base here in the centre. Okay, so we just bolt that together using the bolts, an Allen key, and a spanner that comes with the unit, and we just simply assemble that. So that's the base out of the way. Next we come along and we get the tubular lengths. They come as a single set, and they just drop on and they're bolted onto the base here in the bottom. So we come along, we do the assembly on that. And then what we'll do is, coming up from there, we have a shelf. The shelf comes effectively pre-assembled in terms of the base of it, although we do have to screw the actual glass directly onto it. That's only a single bolt. It sits on here, and there's little brackets on the back that simply clip around here, and we screw it in quite tightly. Once again, we're using an Allen key for it. We have a range of Allen keys we'll need for it. Up from there, we have these cable tidies here, which would simply feed a cable coming, we'll say, from a set-top box here. If we're running a HDMI lead or a power unit up to the power lead up to the TV, we can simply clip it neatly behind. And we're on to the main event here, which we can see is we have would be more like a typical flat TV bracket that we'd have. And what we can do is we can slide it in and out here, and it's most TVs are VESA 200 by 200, but this gives a much wider range, up to over 400, VESA 400 by 400, and maybe possibly even slightly larger, I think, if we adjust it here. And then what we have is, in terms of how high we want to mount the TV, well, the overall height here is just over 1600. I think it's 1660 in fact. And what we can do here is we can mount it in the centre as we have, or we can move it up a notch here and have it at the top, or have it in the very bottom notch. So in total there's 4 sets of holes, and we can use 3 different settings on it. So that's it basically. In terms of the accessories that come with it, we have an instruction manual along with a list of componentry here. Just put it out of the way for a moment. In terms of when we go to bolt on the TV, we have 4 different types of pouches here. So we have the smaller ones here, so there's 2 types in there. We have type 3, type 4, each of them getting larger and longer, and then eventually we have type 5 and 6 here. So depending on the size of the holes, we'll say, that are on the TV itself, it's just covering the full range. And what we have here is spacers and washers as well. And then what we have as well is we have effectively what's a spanner here, but we're using an Allen key and adjustment with it to actually be able to tighten in the nuts. We have the main event here, which is the actual Allen keys here. So there's 4 different types there. We have a whole pile of different bolts that came with it here and nuts, and we use this in the assembly of it. And finally we have a spirit level, which we use just to make sure that we have the TV bracket entirely square when we're mounting the TV directly onto it. So overall you can see it's a really neat unit. Now, the typical applications of it, of course, would be in something like, if you're doing a presentation, something like that, you don't want it sitting in the main meeting room, you wheel it in, you wheel it back out. So it's a rather niche product, but there's definitely demand out there for it. So we obviously have a massive range of TV brackets here at freetv.ie. So this is, we've added on a number of certain niche ones here, ones suspended from the ceiling, etc. Simply because people do look for them and there is demand for them. The price point that's coming in is very, very attractive, and also the general build quality in these is good. And as I said, the overall assembly time with 10 to 15 minutes should be no problem for most people, and it's just hard really to see where you can go wrong on them. So overall a fine unit. So that's a TV display stand with wheels available on freetv.ie.